Why would the Secret Service burn through millions of taxpayer dollars just to stop a threat that costs less than a cup of coffee? Take a look at a standard 7.62mm round. It costs about $2. It is cheap, it is simple, and it is available almost anywhere. Now, look at the response. On a rainy Tuesday morning in Washington, D.C., the president needs to move 3 miles across town. For this short transit, the agency doesn't just send a car. They deploy a rolling fortress, 30 vehicles, motorcycles sweeping the intersections, electronic warfare trucks jamming frequencies, a Marine One helicopter hovering overhead to provide an eye in the sky, and at the center of this chaos sits the beast, a $1.5 million Cadillac that is actually a tank in disguise. It looks like total overkill. Why summon an entire army and shut down the capital of the free world just to deflect a piece of lead the size of a finger? Most people think this is just a show of force, a parade for the cameras, but the reality on the ground is much darker. Every open window, every parked car, and every manhole cover on Pennsylvania Avenue is a potential kill box. The Secret Service isn't just driving a VP to a meeting. They are executing a complex military operation in a civilian city. And the math behind this financial insanity isn't about the cost of the car. It's about the cost of failure. Because in this game, defense has to be perfect every single time. The attacker only has to get lucky once. The engagement begins long before the beast is even visible to the naked eye. The Secret Service relies on a strategy where the first line of defense is distance. Minutes ahead of the main convoy, the road car and the pilot car are already sweeping the asphalt. They are not just checking for traffic, they are scanning for anomalies. A parked van that wasn't there yesterday, a fresh patch of cement on the sidewalk. They coordinate with local law enforcement to physically seal off every intersection, turning a bustling city grid into a sterilized tunnel. But the most sophisticated shield is invisible. Cruising just ahead of the president is the watchtower. You can spot it by the vertical antennas bristling on its roof. This is an electronic warfare beast. It actively jams a massive spectrum of radio frequencies, creating a moving bubble of silence around the motorcade. Why is this necessary? Because the most common threat isn't a sniper. It's a radio-controlled improvised explosive device, or RCID. If a hostile actor tries to dial a cell phone to detonate a bomb hidden in a trash can, the watchtower ensures that signal never connects. If a commercial drone tries to lock onto the convoy, its control link is severed instantly, causing it to drop out of the sky before it gets within a mile of the package. But what happens when the threat is kinetic? Let's look at a scenario. Tuesday, 10:00 a.m. The convoy is transiting a high-risk corridor. Suddenly, a sedan ignores the police blockade. It is moving on an aggressive profile, accelerating directly toward the high-value unit. The trajectory is flagged as a collision course. The response is immediate and violent. The hockey agents, sharpshooters positioned on the rooftops, relay the vector. But the immediate interception falls to the KAT, the counter-assault team. These are not the agents in suits whispering into their sleeves. They are operators clad in heavy tactical gear, riding in a black SUV with the rear hatch permanently open. The moment the threat is confirmed, the KAT vehicle breaks formation. It vectors toward the intruder, placing itself physically between the attacker and the president. This is a maneuver known as blocking the line of sight. The operators don't hesitate. They deploy SR-16 rifles and heavy machine guns. Utilizing laser sights and advanced optics, they lock onto the driver and the engine block. The rules of engagement here are very different from a police stop. There is no warning shot. There is no negotiation. The objective is to deliver overwhelming firepower to stop the vehicle's momentum instantly. They turn the engine block into scrap metal before it can get within 50 yards of the president. The threat is neutralized. The sedan comes to a grinding halt, smoking and disabled. The beast continues its transit, completely unharmed. So, why does the agency utilize such aggressive, military-grade tactics for a simple drive across town? The decision to use a multi-million-dollar rolling army instead of just a fast car comes down to a fundamental concept of survival. It comes down to distance and safety. First, security strategy relies on a concept called defense in depth. Engaging threats as far away from the high-value unit as possible is the priority. If a threat is neutralized by the outer perimeter, it is miles away. If it is stopped by the counter-assault team, it is still at a safe standoff distance. Using a rolling army allows the Secret Service to intercept the threat 50 to 100 yards away, ensuring that even if the interception fails initially, there is time for a second attempt. But the most clever layer of defense is psychological. It is known as the shell game. When the motorcade leaves the White House, you never see just one limousine. You see at least two. They are identical twins. They carry the exact same license plates, 800 Zalo 2. They fly the same flags on the fenders, and during the transit, they engage in a constant, fluid exchange of positions. One vehicle is codenamed Stagecoach, and it carries the president. The other is the spare, acting as a decoy and a mobile backup. For an assassin, this creates a critical problem. You have to guess which car is the target. If you guess wrong, you have revealed your position to the snipers for absolutely no gain. Second, a human element provides visual identification. A radar blip or a camera sensor cannot tell you if a person is holding a camera or a detonator. A Secret Service agent can look at a subject, analyze their behavior, and provide better intelligence than a sensor alone. Finally, the presence of a massive convoy is a powerful tool for de-escalation. The pilot of the motorcade can signal a warning just by their presence. If a vehicle ignores the 30-car blockade, the intent is clearly hostile, justifying the immediate use of force. It is about creating a scenario of total overmatch where the enemy realizes they have lost before they even try. But what if the attackers get lucky? What if a missile or a bullet bypasses the outer ring and slams directly into the window of the limousine? Will the president survive? To answer that, we have to look at the engineering marvel that is the Beast. The Beast is not designed to be a car. It is designed to be a bunker on wheels. When we talk about armored vehicles, most people imagine a standard SUV with some Kevlar panels bolted inside the doors. The Beast is fundamentally different. It was not built on a production line. It was engineered from the ground up on a heavy-duty truck chassis, likely a GMC top kick, specifically to carry armor so heavy that a normal suspension would snap in seconds. Let's start with the most obvious target, the glass. In a standard assassination attempt, the sniper aims for the head. On a normal armored car, the ballistic glass is maybe an inch or two thick. It can stop a handgun, maybe an AK-47 round if the angle is lucky. But the windows on the Beast are 5 inches thick. That is the width of a standard brick. This is not just glass. It is a complex laminate of glass, polycarbonate, and plastic layers fused together under immense pressure. When a high-velocity round like a .308 or even a .50 caliber strikes this surface, the outer layers shatter to absorb the initial kinetic energy. But the inner layers flex. They catch the bullet like a catcher's mitt catching a baseball. The result is a spiderweb crack on the outside, but inside the cabin, the surface remains smooth. There is no spalling, no flying shards of glass that could blind or injure the president. But what if they target the mobility? What if they shoot out the tires? This is the Achilles heel of almost every vehicle on the road. If you lose your rubber, you lose your friction, and you are dead in the water. The Beast runs on custom-made Goodyear tires reinforced with Kevlar. They are resistant to punctures, tears, and slashes. But even if an attacker manages to blow them apart with an explosive charge, the mission continues. Inside the rubber, there is a hardened steel run-flat device. The rim itself is engineered to drive on raw asphalt at highway speeds. It won't be a smooth ride, and sparks will be flying, but the vehicle will not stop moving. Now, let's escalate the threat level. Bullets are kinetic. They punch holes. But explosives create shockwaves. An improvised explosive device, or IED buried under a manhole cover, delivers a massive upward concussive force that can flip a 60-ton tank, let alone a limousine. To counter this, the underbelly of the Beast is a masterpiece of metallurgy. It utilizes a 5-inch reinforced steel plate, but it's not just a flat sheet. It is likely shaped in a shallow V-hull configuration, a design borrowed from the military's MRAP vehicles used in Iraq and Afghanistan. When a bomb detonates underneath, the V-shape deflects the blast wave outward, away from the cabin, rather than letting it punch straight up through the floorboards. The armor plating on the doors and body is even more sophisticated. It is a classified composite, a sandwich of jewel, hardness, steel, aluminum, titanium, and ceramic. Why ceramic? Because when a projectile hits ceramic, the material is so hard that it shatters the bullet itself, dissipating the energy instantly. These doors are 8 inches thick. They are so heavy that they weigh as much as the cabin door on a Boeing 757 jet. They are so dense that it is physically impossible for the president to open them from the inside without mechanical assistance. There are no keyholes. The mechanism to open them is a closely guarded secret known only to the agents on the detail. And what about the fuel? In Hollywood movies, you shoot the gas tank and the car explodes in a fireball. In reality, the Beast's fuel tank is armor, plated and filled with a special reticulated polyurethane foam. If a bullet penetrates the tank, the foam suppresses the explosive vapors, preventing ignition. Furthermore, the skin of the tank is self-sealing. Like human skin clotting over a cut, the material reacts to the puncture and seals the hole to prevent leaks. But the most terrifying threat in modern warfare isn't a bomb or a bullet. It is silent, it is invisible, and it can kill everyone in the city without firing a shot. Biological and chemical weapons. Imagine a scenario where the convoy is driving through a cloud of VX nerve gas or a weaponized aerosol. In any other car, the air conditioning system would pull those toxins right into the cabin. The passengers would be dead in minutes. The Beast anticipates this. The moment a threat is detected, the car seals itself. And I mean hermetically seals. It becomes a submarine on land. The external air intakes slam shut. The vehicle engages an internal overpressure system. This is critical. The car pumps clean, filtered air into the cabin from onboard tanks, creating a higher atmospheric pressure inside than outside. Physics dictates that air always flows from high pressure to low pressure. So, if there is a tiny leak, a microscopic crack in the door seal, the clean air pushes out, preventing any toxic gas from getting in. In the trunk, alongside the firefighting equipment and the riot control weapons, there is an independent oxygen supply capable of keeping the occupants alive for hours while the city outside is uninhabitable. At this point, the Beast is no longer a car. It is an impenetrable, self-sustaining life support capsule capable of surviving the initial stages of a nuclear event. It is the apex of defensive engineering. It seems invincible, but every fortress has a weakness, and usually that weakness isn't the steel or the glass, it's physics. But for all its high-tech wizardry, the Beast suffers from a fatal flaw. It is a problem that no amount of money can solve. It is a problem of physics. Wait, all that steel, ceramic, and titanium comes at a heavy price. The Beast is estimated to weigh over 20,000 pounds. That is 10 times heavier than a regular car. It is essentially a brick on wheels. It is slow to accelerate, it has a massive turning radius, and it carries huge momentum. This creates a tactical nightmare. If the convoy is ambushed in a narrow street, and the attackers block the front and rear with heavy trucks, the Beast cannot simply ram its way out. It becomes a sitting duck, a 20,000-pound coffin. This is where the low-tech solution comes in. The solution isn't a computer program, it is a maneuver. At the Secret Service training facility in Beltsville, Maryland, drivers practice a specific stunt until it becomes muscle memory. It is called the J-turn. Imagine reversing a 9-ton limousine at 50 miles per hour, then violently snapping the steering wheel to spin the car 180 degrees, shifting into drive, and speeding away in the opposite direction, all within seconds. Doing this in a Honda Civic is difficult. Doing it in a vehicle that handles like a freight train requires a level of precision that borders on the impossible. But even the best driver can fail. Even the thickest armor can be pierced. If the unthinkable happens, and a round finds its way into the cabin, there is one final secret hidden in the Beast. It is not a weapon. It is a refrigerator. Tucked away in the trunk, alongside the tear gas canisters and submachine guns, is a medical compartment. It does not contain water or snacks. It holds chilled pints of blood. The blood is typed in cross, matched specifically to the president. Beside it sits a portable defibrillator and a full advanced cardiac life support kit. The lead agent in the car is trained to perform emergency transfusions in the middle of a firefight. This is the ultimate realization of the security philosophy. You can spend millions on classified composites and electronic jamming, but the final layer of defense is not metal. It is biological. It is the blood in the bag and the reflex of the driver. Technology can fail, but the human element is not allowed to. So when you see that motorcade rolling down Pennsylvania Avenue, you aren't just looking at a parade of expensive cars. You are looking at a seamlessly integrated weapon system where engineering meets human endurance. But the Beast is strictly for ground warfare. What happens when the threat is nuclear? What happens when the president needs to command a global war from 40,000 feet in the air? There is another vehicle, far larger and far more secretive than the Beast. It is called the E-4B Nightwatch, the Doomsday Plane. It is designed to survive the end of the world. We have done a deep dive into the flying Pentagon and the submarine fleet that lurks beneath the ice. So, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next briefing. Ultimately, the presidential motorcade is more than just a parade of heavy metal. It is a testament to a simple truth in the world of high-stakes security. You cannot rely on luck. You rely on defense and depth. It is a seamless fusion where 18-inch armor plates protect the body, and the split-second reflexes of a Secret Service agent protect the life. But the Beast is strictly a terrestrial guardian. It dominates the asphalt. But what happens when the ground itself is no longer safe? What happens when the threat level escalates to a global nuclear exchange? We are shifting our focus to the sky and the sea. To the E-4B Nightwatch, the flying Pentagon built to outlast a nuclear winter, and the silent leviathans lurking beneath the ice. We are peeling back the classified layers of these doomsday protocols right now. Click subscribe and ring the bell to secure your intelligence. We will see you in the next briefing.